The hunt for awesome Switch games at PAX East 2019 continues, and today we have an awesome list of 6 games that I was personally very eager to play. These range from Nintendo-produced joints to games that are spiritual successors to some of our favorite indies, and thankfully, I liked a lot of these. Gabe, we have to start with Box Boy plus Box Girl, which I got to play with Nintendo. You're seeing some direct feed now. Make sure to let us know in the comments down below which of these games you're most excited for as we continue our journey through PAX East with today's Volume 2. Hit that like button if you enjoy these sorts of videos. We definitely love bringing them to you. All right, Gabe. So this is one that was recently announced at the Direct, and I was a huge fan of because I love the original Box Boy titles on 3DS.
I remember in a very old podcast series that we don't do anymore, you mentioned these games. I was like, what the heck? It's like, you're just like this little box, but they are very like fun and inventive little games with, you know, simplistic gameplay, but not simplistic puzzles. They are a little bit difficult sometimes. This is a brand new game, 270 new levels. Did you get to try co-op at all?
That is exclusively what I played. So I got to play co-op with my girlfriend, and we are masters of Overcooked 2. We really enjoy Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time, so we thought we would take our talents to Box Boy plus Box Girl and see how we fared. And it was an interesting experience because Box Boy plus Box Girl is a lot more subdued than something like Overcooked 2, but it definitely was challenging, and it was very fun and interesting to see how the box puzzles worked with multiple box makers, because both of the characters, QB and Cutie, can produce their own boxes, and we got to play one level from a bunch of different worlds. So it was a quick progression of different ideas and concepts, although the difficulty maintained pretty mundane given that it was the first level from these worlds.
I do have a question. Did you play as Box Girl and make your girlfriend play? I mean, no, she's been on here. Did you make Raven play Box Boy?
I played Box Boy. We did have costumes on, though. You can put interesting outfits like sailor suit, a scarf, a hat. So we did have some costumes on, and the person presenting the game was almost a little embarrassed. Like, oh gosh, sorry about the costumes. We got to go take those off. I was like, no, I really like these costumes. And I really like the game. It is simplistic, and no fault of what it is, but I guess given the gap in Nintendo's releases, it might underwhelm some people, not because it's not quality, but just because it is a simplistic puzzle game that originated on 3DS. And that's not to take anything away from Box Boy plus Box Girl, and I don't know what the price point will be. It releases on April 26th, but as long as it's priced appropriately, I think it still is a lot of fun. If you like snipper clips, Gabe,
I do.
It may be a little bit more calm, whereas snipper clips may be a little more chaotic, but it will definitely give you that same satisfaction as you work together with your teammate, your co-op partner, to complete these levels. And you can do it all solo if you want. Like, there is obviously the separate campaign, so it's not like, oh, you can do, like, they're individual sets of levels. So it's promising a lot of content. It is very charming. I'm just so ready for, like, Mario Maker or Fire Emblem or something bigger for Nintendo. Like, this is more of a stopgap.
Okay, I am now taking applications for a Box Boy plus Box Girl partner. Doesn't matter gender, doesn't matter anything. Yeah. Just play with me.
Very nice. There's even, I believe there's even a little, there's another character which is like a giant rectangle. He looks pretty awesome as well. Let's move to Katana Zero, which I also played at the Nintendo booth. They were very hyped to show me this one, and I gotta say, well-deserved excitement. Katana Zero, they described to me as Celeste with combat instead of platforming. And when I heard that, I was like, there's no way. Like, Celeste is such a one-in-a-million experience. It's our favorite indie on Switch, and it's so darn good. And I didn't understand how this would be like that, but it really is. Katana Zero is a game made by one man over 6 years. So this is dedication, commitment, and excellence. You are a sword wielder who is slicing through these insta-death levels as quickly as you can. One shot and you're done. That was sort of like the theme of so much that I played at PAX East this year. Like, that Hotline Miami ape-out style is everywhere, and seeing different developers take that concept and execute it in a unique way, super cool. But where Katana Zero sets itself apart isn't even really in the combat. Yes, it feels great. Yes, it's very cool. You can slow down time, deflect bullets. You have to sort of plan out your route through the levels in order to best eliminate different enemies based on what they can do, whether they're charging at you, whether they're weak, whether they have projectiles. You can activate elements in the environment to take them out, lasers, vents, things of that sort. But where it sets itself apart is what happens between the combat. And that's where it does feel a lot like Celeste. Yes, it has pixel art, but it also has therapy sessions, Gabe.
Oh.
You're going and
you know how much I need those.
Talking to your therapist, and you have different dialogue options, but they're done in a really clever way where you can interrupt the person talking to you. You can be kind of rude with them. There is a little like dialogue timer on the bottom, and you have to wait a certain amount of time to get sort of a normal response. Otherwise, if you hit the button early, you can give them like a shut up response. So like, just give me my meds. So like, your hair is ugly. And it not only impacts, that was legitimately an option. It not only impacts your version of the story, and, you know, allows you to put a little bit of your own personality into the plot, but it does have direct effects to the gameplay. There's one point where you are dealing with a hotel receptionist, and if you're rude to her like I was and tell her her hair is ugly, she will not be seen again. But if you're nice to her and talk with her, then at the end of that area, she will come and help you and will allow you to avoid a final fight against the police. So it's pretty cool how they have integrated the story with the gameplay, and even the therapy sessions, like, they definitely give that Celeste vibe where it's like, okay, this is a very fast-paced, difficult game, yet there's something deeper here, and maybe it's trying to tell me something that will evolve this experience beyond the looks of the pixels and into something that really leaves a mark.
This is honestly one of the ones that I was most jealous about that you got to play, because, you know, I didn't attend PAX the way you did. And I guess my question becomes, my favorite part about Celeste is the character, right? And the story that it tells. Is this that like character driven and that's like story driven, or is it just more like, hey, like combat like feels kind of like Celeste-ish, even though like the combat in Celeste isn't real combat, it's just traversal. This is like actual combat. Like, all I'm asking is, are the characters as fleshed out as here? There's a very unique cast of characters in Celeste. Can we expect something like that here?
Hard for me to tell based on the limited amount that I would play. I think Madeline is a home run that is hard to repeat, but I would say maybe not so much characterization, but more style and concept. Like, there's like all this like whole VHS tape aesthetic. It's very neon. The music is fantastic. The levels I played were all kind of in like office complex type areas, but I've seen screenshots that show like nightclubs and even like riding on like a motorcycle and rooftops, and it does look like it takes you some pretty interesting places. So I think that you probably won't get the same attachment to the characters here. I mean, maybe, but I'm hoping that there is enough just in terms of the world and the mystery and intrigue, because there's definitely like more like, something is odd here, something's wrong. Why is this guy being, you know, led to kill all these people? What's happening? Why is he doing this? Like, I think the long answer is yes. Maybe not in the same exact way, but in a different stroke. I
mean, the copy of the game does promise cinematic sequences woven into gameplay, twisting and folding to an unexpected conclusion. So, all right. I mean, yeah, I'm super jealous you played it. $15.
It's fantastic.
April 18th, very soon. Yeah, I'm going to jump on this.
It's really awesome. I was worried early on that maybe it'd be too easy, but the difficulty quickly ramped up. And similar to Celeste, like, your dodges and your movement through the world is very fast, very precise, and you need to be fast and precise to match those controls and then to match the difficulty. It's out soon, which is the best part. So you're going to get to play this one. It is a must buy, I think. It's fantastic. Let's go to Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, which unfortunately is the one from today that I don't have a whole lot of great impressions for. I'll keep it brief. You know that this is a Castlevania-style game. It, you know, was referenced last year in one of Gabe's favorite little indies, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. This game felt sluggish. It felt slow. It did not play well, in my opinion. It felt pretty mundane. They're saying that it wasn't, like, it's going to be better than it was at PAX? Maybe?
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that it's like a slow and sluggish. That's probably like frame rate and performance issues, which they were very open about. They said like, hey, the Nintendo version, like, right now isn't great. They're trying to get it to a better state before release. They say they're promising actually that it's not going to be like this. So, I mean, maybe there's still hope for this one, but every time I hear someone like playing this game and like they never say anything good about it. So,
yeah, it's not the it's not one that's atop my list. I mean, maybe it comes out and does impress with the full package, but as of right now, I'm concerned. Let's go to My Friend Pedro, and my friend Gabe was very excited to hear about this one. It is a super stylized combat game where a banana motivates your movements throughout this world. You are spinning, slowing down time, jumping, diving, and killing everything in your path. This game I felt pretty neutral on. Like, it does what it's trying to do pretty well. It doesn't control perfectly, but at the same time, it's not that sluggish. It's kind of cool. I just didn't get any of that, like, super awesome adrenaline pump that I got from, say, Katana Zero, or the next game we're going to talk about. But it's fun, and I guess over the course of a full game, if they expand upon the ideas, it could be worth purchasing.
Okay, I have one question. Does this game like feel as momentum based as it looks? Because it looks like you would like have to like hit everything like super precisely, and that's one of the things that made me excited, right? I like games that are a little bit more difficult, and you know the concept behind this one is very silly. Is that banana? I'm like, oh, cool. Hey, banana, why are you telling me what to do? So I thought it was like silly, and the gameplay looked cool. So I mean, do you think I'm gonna like it just blatantly? Like you know what types of games I like.
It has a very Shadow Complex-y vibe, just in the way that the levels are laid out and somewhat of the combat. I would say that, you know, this is a game where you are building a score meter. You're trying to go for an S rank and do as cool and crazy of stunts as possible. I just didn't feel like I had enough command of the moveset to make that happen. And I don't know if that is because the game is a little sluggish or if it's because I just need much more time with it. A lot of it, I think, is going to depend on the variety, because I could see this getting repetitive really quick of, like, okay, you're jumping and diving and slowing down time, and you're using it so excessively that I was kind of over it, even in the little bit that I played. But, you know, again, these impressions are coming based on 5 to 10 minute demos, so always remember that with these first blush things. You're playing a game on a show floor with very little tutorial, very little insight, and just expected to go. So obviously I'm gonna not be as good at the game as I would like to be. It's a cool concept. It just didn't click with me 100%. I think you will like it, but I don't think this is gonna be, you know, atop your game of the year list when 2019 is said and done.
Okay, I'm still excited to try it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I hope that there's like some, I don't know, like cool boss battles, something just kind of supplement the moment-to-moment action, which is very much just like shoot, kill, and do these different stunts, and hopefully they continue to add stunts throughout. There are like sort of like action chase sequence segments, and you know, as long as it performs and runs well on Switch, it definitely is one to still keep an eye on. But Bloodroots, Gabe, really surprised me. Again, with a game that goes for the one shot, you're done, kill everything as quickly and creatively as you can. But this one really emphasizes that latter part, the creativity. You are a very aggressive man of the woods. And this was featured in the recent Nindies, and Gabe, you were like, ooh, this looks like a game for me. And this one really is. I can assure that you're going to have fun here. It reminds me a lot of Ape Out, but again, done in a different take, where you are going around picking up all sorts of unique weapons and then utilizing those to make perfect runs throughout the arenas. But they are very tricky arenas, given that they are multi-leveled, right? So there are bridges, there are platforms, there are elevated vertical segments, and that requires even more of a mindfulness as you move through the world. You really need to know kind of a route or a plan, because there are a lot of enemies, and the weapons that you use, whether it's a ladder, a fish, an axe, you want to make sure that you have enough stuff for the area. So it's going to take a few runs, but I found it really satisfying, quick reloads, and a super great time.
Yeah, you mentioned Ape Out, right? And when I saw the trailer the first time, that's exactly what it reminded me of. It's a very like stylized, and there's like blood, and maybe it's not like as unique looking as Ape Out, but it definitely made me think of it. But a couple interesting things here. You mentioned the fact that you can like use environmental stuff, right? You pick up a ladder, you ride this like barrel to like defeat someone, and on top of that, there seems to be boss fights from what I can see in the trailer. Did you get to like play any of them?
I did not. It was just sort of a score run through one of these sequences of arenas, but even that was super fun. And you'll notice that there are some flourishes that are not part of things like Hotline Miami or Ape Out because of the verticality, because of the scope of these levels. Like, you'll use the ladder to spin and slice someone apart, but then you can also vault off that ladder to a higher platform. Or you mentioned the barrel. You can use it to get around, but also for combat. And they say in their copy that these are handcrafted levels, so that's something different as well. These enemies are very specifically placed so that you can kind of make for the best run possible. And like, okay, first I'm going to grab the ladder. That has a couple of uses. Different weapons, Gabe, have different amounts of uses. So certain weapons are one and done and they break. Certain weapons may have, 3 uses. Certain items can be like kicked or punched to then roll across the level and do damage on their own. There's a lot of destructibility, and it just feels like a nice evolution of what some of these other games are trying to do, while still retaining that like white-knuckled approach of, oh god, I have to be perfect, otherwise it's done.
Yeah, I mean, these enemies are not procedurally generated, right? Like the way they're in Ape Out?
Yeah, it says that things are handcrafted, and it based on like how much this relies on your picking and choosing of weapons and pathing through the levels, I think, yeah, it's definitely placed for the specific challenge and the specific, just way that the environment was created.
Yeah, the game's out this summer. I'm excited to get my hands on this one as well. This is a good list.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I at first thought it was more of a brawler, and so when I died instantly, I was like, what the heck is going on? But I'm really glad that they opted for that route, because I think as a brawler, this would be far less exciting. They also say that it is a twisted tale with a deranged cast of characters, so I'm very curious to see how much story is implemented, and I think that's something that can take these games up another notch. Like we mentioned with Katana Zero, obviously Celeste, like if you're able to bring in just a little bit of attachment to who you're playing as and sort of make it more than just the bloodshed, it could be a special one.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Last but not least is Super Crush KO. This is the spiritual successor to Gem, Graceful Explosion Machine, one of my favorite early Switch indies, and done by Vertex Pop. They have managed to take the same ideas from Gem and convert them to a different genre. So all of the score attack, perfect run, switching up your weapons, satisfying combat, moving quickly and efficiently through the levels now goes from space shooter, where you can wrap from edge of the screen to the edge of the screen, to now a side-scrolling brawler. And in my head, brawler is kind of a boring genre. I don't like them all that much, and so there needs to be something awesome about the game to hook me. And luckily I played 2 brawlers this week that were fantastic. We'll talk about one in the next segment, but Super Crush KO gives you the same Gem vibes. It's so fun and satisfying to fight these enemies, the way that you can like hang in the air, smash down, jump back up, you got projectiles, you got melee. It's really, really fun, and just interesting to see how they retain like basically the same visual style, very similar enemy design, kind of similar moves in combat, but it still is very satisfying and clearly feels like a different game.
Yeah, this was made by the same people that made Graceful Explosion Machine. That much is apparent. There's a lot visually that is similar. I'm glad you liked it. You love Graceful Explosion Machine way more than I do. I do think it's a fun experience, but yeah, like you, I'm not into like side-scrolling brawlers like this. So I mean, I'm gonna take your word for it. I'm gonna try it just because you do recommend it, but. Yeah,
the dodge feels really good. The launches and the juggles feel really good. It's sort of that addiction to wanting to get a perfect run, and you're going great, and if you get hit once, it kills your meter. And that might be frustrating for some people, but I really like it, especially since it controls so well. Like Graceful Explosion Machine, I feel like I had complete control over my ship. I knew my arsenal of weaponry, and like, okay, this is good for this is good for that. I'm gonna keep switching them. This one's on a recharge, so I'm gonna go over here and use this. It's very, very similar, almost identical ideas, but done in a totally different genre. And I don't know, like that's kind of cool. They could have gone ahead and made something totally different, but to see them expand upon what I feel is a very successful gameplay loop and just move it to something else, it's kind of interesting. It's a lot like Super Meat Boy Forever, which we'll touch on also next time, where very similar ideas, switch it up a little bit, and it's still so much fun. So I definitely like instant pre-order for me, and I don't know, I think if you love Gem in any way, you'll like this. And if Space Shooter doesn't sound like your cup of tea, but you do like score attack based games where you're looking for precision, perfection, and really colorful combat, then it's still worth checking out, and I hope that it comes soon.
Yeah, I really hope so too.
I also hope that there is some good variety. The art style, I think, is appealing. The colors are great and vibrant, so as long as they keep... It's just quirky and cute. You're going to save your cat. You get a jumbo pretzel. You get some popcorn. That helps build out your moveset. Like, it's very cute. It's very cute, and at the same time, requires a whole lot of skill. So that is the list for today, from Box Boy and Box Girl down to Super Crush KO. A lot of great games today, Gabe, like Katana Zero, Blood Roots, Super Crush KO, Box Boy, Box Girl, and perhaps even my friend Pedro, if it pans out, are going to help line this summer with some very fun, smaller experiences. And of everything I played, Katana Zero probably has the best chance at being a real top-tier title that maybe goes down as one of the Switch greats.
Yeah, that and Box Boy are the two here that I'm like just like super uber hyped for. Super uber. I mean, you compare Box Boy plus Boxer a little bit to Simper Clips, you know how much I love that. Katana a little bit to Celeste, you know how much I love that. So yeah, I'm all for this, and I'm glad that they're coming soon.
Yeah, so that is our list for today. We'll be back with more games soon. In the meantime, let us know which one you're most excited for in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. PAX East has been fantastic, and so pumped to share all of these awesome experiences with all of you. Until next time, though, for myself and Gabe, a fantastic day. Thanks again. Switch Force